Shiny, plastic, black mirror fascist, obsessed capitalist. Are you feeling guilty Catholic? Pretty, picturesque Facebook status. Happy family and happy marriage, like the magazine pages. Superimposed with Photoshop and happy faces. Where cancer doesn't exist, and your daddy lives for ages. And the black babies with the swollen bellies are only moments on your telly until you switch it off and put your makeup on. So walk your dog vegan and put your makeup on. Posing, perfectly pouting and put your makeup and then put your makeup on. Hypocrite, selfie, snowflake nation, not making a difference, not voting, not independence, cause it's irrelevant to how your hair grows. You're pretty, and it's a pity that you're prepared to perpetuate your particulars on Instagram and prefer not to educate and overcomplicate an avocado. Like you know the answers to the problems of this world. Meditation and mindful. How about realistically having kids to feed on minimum wage and suicidal without letting your wife know? Cause I don't kill myself for fashion, not a psycho for the sake of it. Hate the name of it, I'm really ashamed of it. I hate your glossy, double tongue, so in circle, talky, trashy magazine. Like Sebastian's dreams, your friends are just all plastic, and it's lonely out there. I don't care about your implants or artificial intelligence, agony ants, chitty chat irrelevance, designer shirt and pants. So keep on spending, goodbye pretty people. It's such an ugly ending, keep pretending, keep on telling yourself that you're so important, like everyone else, like everyone else. Hey, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people. Pretty. Fight for your rights. But you die to lose.
Goodbye, pretty people, I'll miss you. All your little giggling and self-serving circles, self-absorbed, or shallow surface, all that fucking money and totally worthless, in entirety distractive. A life without purpose, your embodiment is everything wrong. Emboldened by a harmonics, arrogance, echo chamber, industrial multiplier. Factory line features and adjusted plastic artifice, cosmetically cybernetic immortality, activist agents. Away with your moisturizing skin armor nonsense, swigging beard lotion against a Georgian backdrop. One-sleeved tops are a symptom of civilization in decline. Beggars rocking 100-pound traders with metallic shell toes. Designer baby accessories with perfect lips and a pre-birth sense of what looks fucking fabulous. It's ridiculous, marvelous, purebred, beautiful offspring of the embassy. Laughing at the wannabes that think that greed is power. The hours tick by and all you want is everything endless. You are now living in the culture with the locust consumer. Target population, proof of fashion, housing, online grooming saloons. Pretty predator class. Deadly privilege picking flesh with the populace fast. The terrorist victim look is this year's heroin chic. Superior models to snap them pop-up bomb sites. Pop-up prescription antidepressants, propping up debris arranged in artistical splatter patterns. Little ray of ignorant exception at the tipping point. You're dragged to the ground by the teeth of natural selection. We defecate upon your form, thrown upon your back and bleeding in rhyme-a-scissor man. Snicker, snack. Your entrified empathy, ultimately empty, dead heart, pretty face, piss upon your memory. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people.
Hold that thought.
Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people.
What's up, Beachbear? Is this an insomnia for you?
Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people, pretty people. Pretty.
Jarring. What's up, D? Good to see you. Got Bogey. Page. All right. Good to see everybody. Yeah, we got a good one today. I haven't stopped reading since 6 a.m. Been reading and watching and trying to figure all this out, really. So we're going to kind of break it down. We're going to have a slow start with just some random stuff, really. And then we'll slowly start working into, because I kind of created the poll and threw the thumbnail out there kind of to entice you, I guess, kind of have you wondering what was going on with it, because I'm wondering about it. I haven't completely verified all the information. So just like every live, if you hear a name, if you see a news clip, or you see me pull up an article, remember, I have no law enforcement background, no investigative background, nothing like that in my history. But I do have a brain and I'm going to use it. And really, we just want to kind of open our mind to the possibility, right?
Please. Open your mind. Open your mind. Open your mind.
Stumbled across that gem earlier today. So we're going to go from random, then we're going to go directly into a couple under the bridge. We're not going to be giving out any names, but apparently some channels have already been discussing it briefly, but they've been 100% identified. But we'll be more talking about what they may have seen, the timeline, including who else was out there? Derek. We got the couple. We got CM with the photographs. I guess we can call him Flannel Shirt Guy. And I'm not even sure if that's even McCain. I really don't know if that's been verified or not. But we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to go right into these strange structures. I don't know if these photographs were provided by Eric Williams. He was one of the searchers who was interviewed briefly. And also, he spoke with one of the Delphi Facebook groups and also was interviewed by another YouTube channel where he mentions what I believe has been verified to be basically what we're seeing in those images. What's up, Melissa? Now, I've talked about this previously. This is unrelated to really anything that we're going to really be diving into today. But it is interesting. I've mentioned it before. We've kind of debunked it, but it's still, I don't know, it's still something that, I don't know. Let's see what you guys think about this.
Indiana conservation officers stepped in to save that man's life, and tonight that officer is being called a hero. Monday afternoon, a man called 911 from a wooded area near the White River, close to the Marion-Madison County.
Hold on real quick. Hey, Lakeside, welcome back. Good to have you.
Line. The man was trying to kill himself. Conservation officer Nick Wilson took off to search that area on an ATV. He found that victim bleeding and in and out of consciousness. Officer Wilson applied a tourniquet and stayed with that distressed man until medical help arrived.
During that 20 minutes, I kept talking to the victim, calming him down, making sure that everything's going to be all right. He wasn't able to talk to me, but I believe that he was able to listen to me through head movements. And I calmed him down as best as I could.
That victim was eventually transported to IU Methodist in serious condition. No update on his condition tonight. Wilson, who's been on the job for 5 years, says this call was a first for him, but his training meant that he was prepared to jump in when he was needed.
I don't know. I thought that was strange. So the call came in at 3 p.m. and this place is about 82 miles south of Delphi. So it would take you about an hour to drive there. If you're going pretty quickly. It's a straight drive. Boom. So I don't know if that means anything. And it says he was attempting to commit suicide. Like, why? What was going on? Was that just a story? Did he cut himself really bad? Was that a story somebody made up? What do you guys think about that? I just thought it was interesting. The timing, 3 p.m., 1 hour drive. And this is just according to their, to their statements. This is them saying, oh yeah, the call came in at, actually it said a little after 3. And then you got the whole conservation officer part of it. And I debunked it. I mean, there's no way after 2:15 you could drive 82 miles. I mean, unless you were, super speeding? I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense. I just thought it was interesting. Food for thought. People's accounts seem to change. For all we know, maybe it wasn't 3. Maybe the call came in at like 4:30 or closer to 4. And it's like we'll never, ever know. Nobody cares about the details. You want to see it again? I'll play it again.
Darkest hour, an Indiana conservation officer stepped in to save that man's life, and tonight that officer is being called a hero. Monday afternoon, a man called 911 from a wooded area near the White River, close to the Marion-Madison County line. The man was trying to kill himself. Conservation officer Nick Wilson took off to search that area on an ATV. He found that victim bleeding and in and out of consciousness. Officer Wilson applied a tourniquet and stayed with that distressed man until medical help arrived.
During that 20 minutes, I kept talking to the victim, calming him down, making sure that everything's going to be all right. He wasn't able to talk to me, but I believe that he was able to listen to me
Rebecca?
Through head movements. And I calmed him down as best as I could.
That victim was eventually transported to IU Methodist in serious condition. No update on his condition tonight. Wilson, who's been on the job for 5 years, says this call was a first for him, but his training meant that he was prepared to jump in when he was needed.
Yeah, nothing really strange about the story. It's just the timing and the possibilities, Because you assume if somebody's just committed a murder with a knife, like Koberger or somebody like that, that they might have self-inflicted wounds during a struggle or maybe just a slip of the hand. It wouldn't take much for somebody in law enforcement to come up with a good story or scenario. And like I said, everything that we discuss and all the things that we pull up and put up on the screen, it's all coming from a place of pure speculation. We're just trying to understand. We're just trying to get down to the details. Like, what's that thing? The Large Hadron Collider. It's like they just keep finding, smaller particles, smaller and smaller and smaller. That's all we're doing here. But we're doing it with information. Because what are we going to do? Let's shut down the whole YouTube channel. And then what are we doing? We're still investigating. We're still looking into it. It's just now we don't have an efficient platform. What's up, Willow? Good to see you, Vanessa. Cheryl. Oh, right there. Hey, let me ask you a question, Cheryl. Can you drive? Do you guys speed there? How long would it take to get to Delphi there? Could you do it in like 40 minutes? Because me, I can drive 92. I've done it before. Not proud of it, and I don't drive like that anymore, but I have driven 92 miles in like under 40 minutes before. About 45 minutes. So I'm just curious. What's up, Olivia? Oh, did I grab a water? Ooh. My wife got me a little mini fridge. I forgot I had this in here. It's a little cold. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Leslie Kingston, thanks for the comment. Says the details are the guy was attempting suicide. Sounds like cut wrists. So who called? Who called 911? Did somebody just see him injured? Why was he in the woods? And why is this guy speeding towards him on an ATV? Just curious. I'm sure he's a hero. I just don't know if people should be offended, by just taking a closer look at things. Who just walked in here? Looks like we got Miss Persevere. Indy, good to see you. Lorraine, hello. And Mandy. Did I say hi, Miss Thing? I already got you, Holly. Oh, I think I missed Ruckus. Sorry about that, Ruckus. Paper Pimp. Thank you. Paper Pimp says, you're not driving that many miles in Indiana in 40 minutes. Too many speed traps or what? See, the road I did it on, it was like going through the mountains. Not many places to hide. And even in all the places where law enforcement could hide, I was already familiar with those, where they might be hiding. But I was young and dumb. Oh shit, no. That's cool. What'd you guys talk about? Ruckus says, hey Sleuth, I don't know if you caught it earlier. I spoke with Eric Williams today. No, I've been putting up this content and working on my garden. Getting ready to put my tomatoes out. My tomatoes and my jalapenos. And if my ganja plant, the little mother that I've been working on, something stunted her growth. But she's starting to get all bushy. So I'll have my crop going for that as well. Onions are already in there. And then we'll probably just do cucumbers and something high in protein. Then a bunch of herbs. My wife just throws me a bunch of seeds. But that's what I've been doing today. So I missed it, unfortunately. What happened? We talk all the time. He's a good guy. Yeah, we're gonna show a media clip with him, which kind of put his face out there. And then we're going to read a conversation that he had with somebody from a Facebook group, apparently. And we're not going to read everything. We'll just try to focus on his comments. And he talks about seeing strange, what appear to be maybe like a ritualistic structures and animal bones. And apparently these images are associated with the same place that he's talking about. And he kind of gives us an idea of where it's located. He says it's near the crime scene, but further down, whatever that means. I'm assuming maybe further east. That's what I'm assuming. Okay, so let's just jump right in here. We're going to start with what's been, I guess, dubbed. Well, sometimes it's referred to as the arguing couple. But today we're going to refer to it as the couple under the bridge. Now, the first time I heard about this information was from Becky Patty. And where I heard that was on Gray Hughes' channel. He interviewed her and she broke down the timeline, and he's throwing like visuals at us. It's a really good video. I don't have the description right now, but I do recommend watching it all. Me, I think I pulled about 5-10 seconds of it, just where she talks about, maybe we'll start with that. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good place to start. Okay. Were you guys able to hear that? Okay. Let me know. Can you hear this? Okay, here, let me see if I can give you guys some visuals. I think I have a couple of images here. Were you guys able to hear that? Okay, let me know if you can hear this.
So there's a bridge, it's called Wilson's Bridge, and he said as he was crossing that bridge, he called her. Again, we checked phone records, and it was at 3:11.
No, you guys can't hear that? Okay. Oh, now you can? Okay, so let me restart this. Make it really small because it's not on the screen. And then I'll show you this one. And that is Wilson Bridge. I'm only putting it on there as reference because she actually mentions it right here.
So there's a bridge, it's called Wilson's Bridge, and he said as he was crossing that bridge, he called her. Again, we checked phone records, and it was at 3:11.
Okay, so he's coming back from whatever it is he was doing, and they verified the phone records and the location, so he was crossing Wilson Bridge. At that time. So here, let's zoom in. So that's Wilson Bridge right there. What's up, Nora? We got Jari. Danger Dave. Hey, what's up, Jim? Is he back on the case? Did you guys surprised I haven't seen him on Facebook somewhere. Or not Facebook, YouTube, sorry. Melissa, he never had a channel. Oh shit, Corn Pop. What's up, Corn Pop? You still ducking old Joe? Uncle Joe? He's been looking for you. Hey, Teresa. Hope you're doing okay. Okay, so he's hitting Wilson Bridge at 311. And we know at this point in time, we have a couple that's under the bridge and a friend of the couple also on the bridge. And we're near this area. And then we know that somewhere nearby is the killer. And that's at 3:11 p.m.
That he called her to tell her, he was going to tell her, hey, come start heading up towards the trailhead. I'm going to be there in a minute or two, you know. But she didn't answer. So when he...
So that's basically Libby's father coming to pick up the girls, being proactive, saying, okay, I'm at Wilson Bridge, you know. Hopefully by the time I call them, they'll already be walking back to where I plan to pick them up. You know, he's trying to be proactive. You know, maybe they'll be waiting for me as I pull up. Boom, I'll grab them and we'll continue.
He got to the trailhead, up to the drop-off point. He called her again, and that on our phone records show at 3:14.
All right, let's stop it right there. So this is the drop-off point she's referring to, which is the Mears lot. So 3:14, and again, she says they checked the phone records. So she's saying they verified all this, which is helpful information for people who are trying to understand the timeline.
And he told me that as he was getting out of the car, he called her. So at that point, she didn't answer. So he started walking up towards the trailhead. He stood there for a little bit. He looked around and didn't see anybody or anything. So he started walking towards the high bridge. He was just about to where it forks, and he ran into an older guy, a gentleman.
Okay, let me stop it there. So now this older gentleman, I mean, I haven't verified it, but it's my understanding it's is it Dan McCain? Dan McCain or Dave? I want to say it's Dan McCain. And they've been working on this trail for quite some time. Well-known people in that community. I do find it a little strange that he's walking away. Let's just kind of think about the timeline here. Okay, so you have Derek right around this area at 3:14, right? So you got Derek and flannel, we'll call him the flannel shirt guy. Right here. And if he was just down at the bridge witnessing a couple, that means about 5, let's say, I don't know, 5, 10, anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. He was just here. So we'll say around 3 o'clock, he's at the bridge. And so will the couple down here. And we also know the person who was on their way at this moment is somebody who posted 2 images online and basically provided us the information that she also ran into a couple that she knows and also is her friend, and she provided the information to law enforcement. So we have all this verification that there are the people there. We know who they are. But that's not the question. The question is what did they see? What is their role in all of this? Did they help with the sketch? Did they provide any information? All right, let's jump back in the chat. No, I'm missing somebody. Oh, Stefan, what's up? Good to see you. Hippie. This flannel shirt guy is sus. Well, we know that the suspect really wasn't anywhere near the bridge until like 1:40-ish. So we'll put him messing around, bridge guy messing around the bridge around 1:40-ish. Probably even earlier, anywhere between 1:30 and 1:40. 1:30, I'll say, yeah, closer to 1:40. So that's about 5 minutes prior to when the girls actually get dropped off here. And 2:15 is when they proceed to go under the bridge area here towards Ron Logan's property. So that's at 2:15. 3:14 is a full hour from that point. So an entire hour has gone by from when Derek arrives and the bridge guy confronts the girls. That's a lot of time. Okay. 15 minutes from then, and that's also the same time that CM shows up. So why do you think it's possible that Dan McCain saw anything if he was down here at 3 p.m.? I mean, I'm assuming he just walked down here, made sure, the bridge is still there. He's like, all right, well, it didn't fall over today. Probably just doing like his rounds, you think? That's what I'm thinking. Can pull up like 50 videos of him on those trails. He's there all the time. Hey, Big Fish, what's up? Dan McCain. I don't know where that information comes from. I don't think it matters if it is Dan McCain or not. All we know is that it's a guy. And if it is Dan McCain, how the hell do we know that? What is up, Digital? What's going on? Okay. Getting sidetracked.
That was coming from the high bridge, and he asked him, did you see a couple of girls there? And he said, no, but there's a couple down underneath.
What? Okay, so there's a couple down underneath. So if he's walked 5 minutes away from the bridge, that makes him there at least at 3:10. We're assuming maybe he looked around, maybe 5-10 minutes. We'll say 3 o'clock. He shows up at the bridge. How does he not hear or see anything? I just don't understand with all this movement. How does nobody hear anything or see anything? That is the one and the only reason that I feel like it is possible that they took them and possibly brought them back. Now, whether they took them somewhere on foot and dumped that clothing there later, I don't know. But I'm starting to lean more towards some kind of a setup with including the ruse. And I'm wondering if that was Richard Allen's part in all of this, the ruse. Like, you guys got to get off the bridge. Oh my gosh, he has a gun. Yes, you guys got to do what I say. Can't can't go back across the bridge. You need to go this way. Well, we're at the end of the trail. Well, you got to go down this hill. And then if you notice, apparently the shoe or whatever Kelsey said was found pretty much as far as you can walk, because it kind of turns into a cliff face right there. So all you have is water and cliff. So I'm assuming that it's at that point he was like, well, we got to cross right here regardless. And there's kind of that natural bridge, that sandbar. They could have either, and I'm thinking they all went together, no signs of a struggle. So how are you coerced across this creek through these woods? You're not yelling, you're not screaming. You're being 100% controlled. How is that possible with just Richard Allen? Okay, there wasn't a scream. We didn't hear anybody fighting. We didn't hear of anybody shooting a weapon. We didn't hear, we didn't even hear a mention of anybody noticing, even seeing them other than the witnesses. No signs of a struggle. Ron Logan affidavit clearly states. So, I think they were led somewhere. And even this guy, Eric Williams, and we're going to get into it. And that's kind of where we're segueing into this, is because he mentions the same thing. He says, we searched all back there. And he believes that they were brought back. Mike Patty says there was no confirmation that could have possibly happened. He doesn't know for sure. He doesn't know if that's something that may have happened or not. We have Ron Logan saying that there was hundreds of people searching behind his yard and that they were out there in the open and nobody saw him. So to me, the missing time between 2:15 and 4 o'clock when Muddy and Bloody Guy was out there, and we're going to talk about the Murder Sheet podcast. We pulled a clip from them too. We'll talk about what they had to say. We got the missing time. Nobody hearing them out there, no screams, no signs of a struggle. To me, that plays in my mind as a ruse into a place where they're completely under control. To me, that takes multiple people.
So Derek, instead of going to the high bridge, took the trail that went down to the creek, to where he said that the couple was there.
Yeah, there's another trail right here. It goes down this way. So he bumps into this gentleman, as Becky refers to him. And then right here it splits and kind of comes down this way. So yeah, there was a couple down, under the bridge. Oh, okay. Well, let me go. That's probably them. Let me go down there. And what's strange also is in this same conversation, Becky says he never mentioned if he actually ran into the couple or not. So we never got an answer whether he saw who it was. So I did find that strange. He never said like, hey, I saw such and such, because that would have been part of this, it would have been no big deal to make that part of this story here. Lauren, what's up? If whoever knew they were doing this and they went there, they could have prepared 2 slabs of sorts of duct tape. They quiet Libby first because she was tougher. I don't know. To me, if toughness played a part, there would be signs of a struggle, unless I'm misunderstanding that. 17 likes. How many people are in here? Yeah, we got way more people than 17. That's crazy. Charismatically, what up? Good to see you, Frank. What's going on? Thank you, Deb. That goes for her channel as well. She has an amazing channel. And she's just getting started. That's the crazy part. You should have seen me when I started. I was wearing a mask and taking bong rips. Well, I still take the bong rips. I just don't do it on camera. Freaks people out. They're not in a legalized state. They're like, what the hell? I'm calling the police. What's Sleuth's address? He's going down. Okay, let's continue on. Sorry about that. I was trying to read all these comments.
I don't even remember if he said he saw them or what. He come walking back up, and he called me. That was when he called me. It was about 3:30, and said Libby's not answering her phone.
Okay, so 3:30. We don't have any visual for that one, so we'll just kind of. I'm assuming he's back over here somewhere. So I mean, he checked everywhere. You know, he asked the guy, "Hey, was there anybody over there?" No, just a couple underneath. Okay, so let me check. Probably got a good look at the bridge when he was down here. Saw the couple. I was like, well, that's not them. Come back up here. Maybe make a phone call again right in this area as you're walking. You know, well, common sense says, well, maybe they're just over here, phone's dead, and they're just lingering with some friends. Hey, JJ, thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks for all the time and effort you put into this. Yeah, if I wasn't doing it here, I'd be doing it somewhere else where they wouldn't let me talk. They'd be like, that's dumb. You know, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to question the hell out of it, but I'm not going to say you're dumb. Quite in depth. There's tons pointing towards. Oh, I'm sorry. I went off there, Holly. Okay, so let's continue on. Like I said, this is just a super small piece.
And I don't see her.
Conversation.
So we told him that we would. Tara works with me, so I started calling her, and then Tara called and messaged. We sent several messages. We would take turns calling.
Okay, so they're freaking out right about now. Sounds like.
Derek did walk down to the Freedom Bridge.
Yeah, see, I remember that
and
part.
walked back. He passed that older gentleman again.
Okay, so 3:14, he runs into the guy, tells him, hey, there's a couple down here at the bridge. You know, he kind of looks around, goes back to the bridge. So where did that guy go? You know what I mean? Why did he come from the bridge back to midway and then back up to Freedom? Like almost like you followed him. Maybe he was doing something over here, checking this parking area or something. Thinking out loud. Sorry.
And so he went back to the car, and he was like I said, he was walking, and by this time it was about 4:00.
Okay, we're gonna stop that right there because that's basically what we're gonna pull from that interview for today's topic. So did you hear what she said? She said he went back to the car at 4 o'clock. So when I say that, and she's verifying that information, you know. So at 4 o'clock, he's right here. Isn't that crazy? So you have the Hoosier Harvest Store camera, and this little red area is supposed to signify kind of its line of sight. This highlighted road area is supposed to be basically somewhere where Muddy and Bloody Guy was spotted around 3:57 p.m. So the craziest thing is Muddy and Bloody Guy, possibly Richard Allen or another perpetrator, I don't know, is right here occupying the same pretty much space and time as Derek German momentarily. How insane is that? He could have walked by him, or he could also be the reason why he was not spotted on the camera. He could have either turned around or went completely around this way in a panic. So he could have walked all the way up to right here and seen them. So I mean, imagine if he walks by Muddy and Bloody, he would walk right by Derek, right here. That's crazy. So what if he's a witness? Yeah, maybe he didn't. You know, he's worried about. He's not thinking anything bad happened. Isn't that crazy? That was tripping me out today. 357. The killer is right there on 300. Oh yeah, Derek and Tara. Yeah, also Becky Patty in that same interview says, yeah, people were saying they saw Derek in the car with somebody because he was, you know, he was in there with Tara. So right here, Derek and I believe that's Libby's aunt. So yeah, if this is the killer walking down the street and he sees them there, maybe even hears them, you know, sees them looking around like, hey. Yeah, that might cause him to go somewhere else. Or maybe they, I don't know. That's just, I don't know what to say about that. Very strange. Yep, there you go, Beach Fairy. Food for thought. Digital, you bring up a good point. Flannel shirt is controversial and powerful. Derek didn't know him. I don't think we know even 20% of the witnesses or what they told law enforcement. I think we know about 20%, maybe a little bit more. I think we know everything that's associated with Richard Allen and his part, which is only maybe 20% of what actually took place. You know, and I think that when we get into the sketches, we're going to talk about if they were different people, what they mean, and we're going to break down. We might even watch the 2017 presser and parts of the 2019, just briefly, when they mentioned the blue eyes. The Murder Sheet podcast, they put out something recently titled Muddy and Bloody. I pulled a real short piece of that, and they bring up a good point. It's like, how can she be close enough to even know anything about eye color, but can't pin down a hat type, you know? So I thought that was a good point. All right. This is from Richard Allen's PCA. Investigators spoke with a witness who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North on February 13th, 2022, and observed a male subject walking west. Did you notice that? Is that a typo? Look, there's a typo. Right there. And observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300. Okay. So maybe he could have easily just went behind the Mears property if he's on the north side already, away from the Monon High Bridge. Witness advised that the male subject was wearing a blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching the video from the Hoosier Harvest store that Blank was traveling on CR 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m. So yeah. Lauren says it's hard to really get the feel for the area from drone shots. Someone or some people on the ground there in different locations could be a good idea and have them live like news anchors. Are you volunteering? Frank says, remember Cheyenne was heading back to the car around the same time. She parked at the Mears lot. Here, I don't want to get stuck in one place here, so let's revisit what Cheyenne had to say. She says in a Facebook post, first off, my initial response is, why didn't you message me? You clearly have my entire name. So I'm positive that you would have found CM. But thanks to you, I have everyone and their brother in my inbox acting like McGruff the crime dog. Secondly, I did report my findings to the police station as soon as I heard the news. 2 weeks later, a detective came and spoke with me for a lengthy amount of time. I showed him the pictures I took and explained what I saw. I described my car and other vehicles around me, plus other information that is none of anyone's concern. He has my contact information and is able to use that to his advantage. So is she a witness? That's interesting. Third, how is my pictures weird? I'm an avid hiker and a nature enthusiast. I enjoy architecture and other outdoor photography. I am in love with the outdoors. So there's two images floating around online. A good friend of mine recently sent me some other photos that she had taken that day that she sent to only a specific person, and only a few people have these images. So it was interesting to see it and to know a little bit more about what was going on. There's nothing really suspicious in it, but it's kind of gives you just like another layer. What was going on with the couple under the bridge? They didn't look like they were arguing in these photos. I am in love with the outdoors, and referencing why I was there on that day when I should be at work is completely closed-minded. Not everyone works a factory job or even an office job. That just so happened to be a warmer day, and I was off work and went to enjoy it. Also, your story is false about who was there or what I seen. I wasn't alone. I had my best friend, who happens to be a female, with me. There was another heterosexual couple there, and that is the couple under the bridge, which means I saw a male and a female who surprisingly I knew as well. And before you dig into the situation, they have also spoken with a detective well before I did. So there is the couple under the bridge. And you guys are all familiar with these images, I'm sure. These are the ones she shared publicly. But she actually shared more privately that are, and I actually got my hands on one of them. It's very interesting. Okay, now this next piece is from Murder in My Family.
And
That's the title of the podcast. It's amazing. They ask great questions, but we're only going to focus on this one question that he asks Mike Patty. Now let me know if you guys can hear this.
true or accurate?
Well, I've had nothing from the police officially telling me that.
Search, do you know about that? Is that true? Are they happening that they may have been put there?
Okay. Were you guys able to hear that? Somebody let me know in the comments, please. What's up, Sophie? Thank you, Ruckus.
Their bodies weren't there the night before when the search was happening, that they may have been put there, wound up there after the initial search. Do you know about that? Is that true or accurate?
Well, I've had nothing from the police officially telling me that, but just based on facts and information that I've collected, I have no reason to believe that they weren't there and they weren't brought back. And that's just based on the fact that I've talked to a lot of people who were involved in the search or involved in different aspects of this. And, you know.
So he's saying from his perspective, he doesn't believe that that is the case. And did you guys hear what he said? Were you able to hear that? Because it's important. He's saying that he doesn't know. We're talking about somebody who's extremely close to the case. He does not know for sure if they were taken and brought back. Yeah, I think so. There might have been some helpful information. People under the bridge were most likely witnesses also. You know, maybe they were like, yeah, we seen a young looking guy marching through the woods. But we were on mushrooms or something, you know, something like that made their story not plausible. They're like, oh, fucking damn hippies. We'll put that to the side. You know, we'll put this young looking sketch over here. Thank you, D. Yeah, if you guys could hit the thumbs up, it helps my channel out. It makes YouTube think that people actually watch this. And then here's another quick one. Let me know if you guys can hear this one.
That could have been on the
Sorry.
search team to look for him when they were missing. Right. I mean, they had people out here in my woods that night that they were looking for him all over that place.
Ron Logan tells this person who showed up and asked him for an interview, said there was people all over that place.
Just didn't find him. Now, why did they not find him then? Yeah,
Why didn't they find him then? can't remember. Big Fish asks, wasn't the police looking right around there at 2:30 a.m. looking for the phone? I don't know. Yeah, that shit was really loud. Sorry about that. I had to the copy I had was bad, so I had to turn it way up. Hey, Misunderstood. Yeah, that was a great interview by those ladies. I think they were from Lafayette. I don't know if they still have their YouTube channel up, but that was a great interview. How does Carter's statement that nobody saw BG leaving fit with muddy and bloody statement? It was a bold-faced lie, or he just misspoke at the time. They can't remember every fact, every moment, especially after a big media event. People throwing microphones in their face. They're just trying to brush them off anyway. Do the whole swim move, deflect them. Boom. Yeah, that's what I heard. 3:30ish, and some people claim to have seen the coroner's report, or at least the death certificate. Maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, so with that, we're going to go into, this is a great segue because he talks about the same things. He talks about, and when I say he, I'm referring to Eric Williams. He talks about people walking all through that entire area, which is not far from the photos I believe we're going to look at. Maybe first we're going to listen to this. This is Robert Ives on the Dr. Oz show.
It's impossible to think of a motivation for the crime. Generally, when you have a murder in rural Indiana, Carroll County, the motive was obvious. The suspect.
Okay, he says it's impossible to kind of determine a motive when he sees the crime scene. To me, that says no sexual assault and no direct connection or suspicion of anybody, is what I'm thinking. And are the strange things at the crime scene, is it ritualistic, or is it there to throw off law enforcement? We saw the stuff that was kind of, maybe they went back and put all that stuff down by the water to try to throw them off. What do you guys think about that aspect? Let's see here. Assumed. Ruckus says, we all assumed that the timeline was much shorter than it actually was. Yeah, that's crazy, huh? Hour and a half of missing time. Hey, what's up, Jen?
Was obvious. And as I've told people, the crime scene is very unusual. It's all very strange. If you had arrived at this crime scene where the girls' bodies were found, there were 3 or 4 physical characteristics of the crime scene that you absolutely would take pictures of. And I'm not certain of the exact significance of these things, but they are very unusual.
All right. What do you guys make of that? Very unusual. What is unusual, but also makes you think that the crime would be solved right away? I even read somewhere he mentioned possible mental illness is one of the things he thought. I believe that was in an earlier interview with him. Okay, so this is the first time we heard from this guy, Eric. He was part of the search party.
This morning happening right now in Carroll County. The sheriff's office and community members continue to look for 2 missing girls last seen near the Monon High Bridge Trail in Delphi. News 18's Alexis Moberger reports how many have spent hours searching, and they say they will not stop looking until the girls are found.
We're just praying for their safe return.
13-year-olds Liberty German and Abigail Williams went missing Monday. The girls were last seen near an abandoned railroad bridge known as the Monon High Bridge around 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, upset, confused, obviously very distraught, just worried. All I want to do is have the girls get home safe.
The girls were dropped off near the bridge to walk around and hang out. They had made arrangements to be picked up by a family member later in the afternoon. But when it came time for the girls to be picked up, they never showed up.
Getting scared now.
Abigail's mom, Anna Williams, has spent hours worrying, just hoping to hear her little girl is okay.
It's getting cold. Been out a long time. They don't know what time they ate last.
The girls haven't answered their phones since around the time they went missing.
Missing, abducted, we don't know for sure. Cell phone has been pinging around town here. There's a cell phone tower, but the ping was last noted about 5 or 6 hours ago. They say the phone's now dead.
The last Snapchat from one of the girls was from 2:07.
Text, I saw a text where that got delivered, but they never got read.
Very scary situation right now, and I just want her home.
Now many are on an extensive search to find them.
Ravines, ditches, trash cans for phones, any sign of the girls, and anything we can find to just find them. Ditches, trash cans for phones, any.
Yeah, so that was Eric Williams, and everybody's like, "Oh, he almost said victims," So they thought it was suspicious or wanted to look into it more, so people started talking about him. Well, once they started reaching out to him, here's a conversation that I found online. I think I may have been bounced from a comment in Reddit. Can't remember. But it took me to this site called Imgur. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's kind of like archive site. So I will pull up what I found there. Okay. Sorry, guys. My stomach was growling, and I had a sandwich waiting for me downstairs. So I'm going to take a couple bites and be off the camera for just a moment. All right. Thank you, guys. What? Wow. That's crazy. I mean, he did almost say victims. Well, maybe. Who knows what he said? But it does sound like he almost says victim. All right. So let me pull this up. I actually just video captured it. It was easier that way than taking all these screenshots. Okay. So we'll kind of pause it, stop and go, stop and go. I guess this Facebook group was called Deconstructing Delphi. I'm sure I've seen it. It's just not ringing a bell. He says, Deconstructing Delphi, meaning what? And I am the loudest person you will ever talk to. Nothing I say is private. So we're going to kind of skip what she says. It's kind of long-winded. She's trying to break the ice, introductions, whatever. False alarm. Okay. So he says, honey, I hate to say it, but you will never find the truth because it's a cover up. The sheriff and every law enforcement agent in Carroll County is dirty as they come. But what do you want to know? So he's definitely willing to talk, but he's kind of putting it on the police. Digital says Eric Williams was close friends with someone very close to one family. Yeah, the brother. He was actually interviewed. He speaks on camera too. He was the guy that was sitting next to him. He was a little bit shorter. He had on a hood. I believe that's her family member on Anna's side. Somewhere. I could be wrong. The hell do I know? Okay. So she asks, tell me about what you saw and why do you think this has been covered up? He says piles of animal bones, skulls hanging in trees, fresh tracks leading from the creek to the house on the hill. So it's saying fresh tracks. I'm assuming the house on the hill, that sounds like Ron Logan's place. See, we never said Ron Logan didn't play a part because we don't know. We just didn't have anything really points to that. But that's pretty suspicious right there. Leading from the creek to the house on the top of the hill. A bunch of cops and firemen that had no concern when I told them they tried to stop me from crossing the bridge. The fact that I was a suspect that got called. Oh, crazy. Yeah, he says right here he was a suspect. I wonder why. Why was he a suspect? Is that why they stopped him from crossing the bridge? The fact that I was a suspect that got called and tried to interview me over the phone, but I told them to kiss my ass. They got pissed and sent 2 cops to pick me up for questioning, and the cops couldn't even find my house with the proper address. I call them out every chance I get, and then some, not one official in that county likes me. I am the loudest and proudest around. And I speak my mind no matter who it's to. She asks, the animal bones, was this at the crime scene or nearby? Are you friends with Carrie? Yes, I was about 1,000 yards or so from the bridge. So 1,000 yards or so from the bridge is where he's seen the bones. And yes, I'm friends with Carrie. Her brother and I are best of friends. I don't know who her brother is. Did you live in Delphi at the time? No. So this area of animal bones was near the site where the girls were found. When you saw this, what went through your mind? That someone has been practicing for a long time. Practicing what? Practicing killing? Practicing the dark arts? What does he mean practicing? Oh. Okay. Did you feel like some type of ritual? Never thought like that till later on, but no, there was nothing else to suggest that. Were you familiar with the trails? He says, no. Then you were just out searching with others. No, I hooked up with Carrie's brother and we started our own search pattern. We came from the South County Road and walked the track to the bridge. Did you see the crime scene? I feel like the actual crime scene is in the shed on top of the hill. But no, we called off our search and the girls were found. Sorry. I didn't do the best job recording this. We'll pause that. The girls were found the next day where we already looked. And I'm a country boy. Them girls were not there when I came through. They were taken and brought back. So this is from somebody that was there. Ron Logan said the same thing. Eric is saying the same thing. And you had Mike Patty saying he's just not sure. So from his perspective, he can't say no. Let's see what Ruckus has to say. I just talked to Eric about all this. He was never on Ron Logan's property or even on that side of the creek. So where do you think he was referring to? So you think he's talking about down the other way? Like further west, like towards town. Tarp. Hey, lady. Okay, let's continue on here. I think this might be it. This last one here. He says it's a cover up. It was the girls walking in on a meth lab being ran by the local cops and criminal informants. One of them snapped and shit went crazy. I feel in my heart that this is the true story just by being in that county and all knowing how they work. More than a problem, more like an epidemic. Now it's heroin. That's the main culprit. The police make a lot of money by letting the perps get away. And that's just more of the same there. All right. So that's coming right from his mouth. This was actually out of another article. It had nothing to do with this. This is a few years prior. And they had Eric Williams on the front of the article. I don't think I've ever shared this. Let me put this up. I think he's helping out with some kind of monument or headstone here. Nothing crazy. Very random, but looks pretty nice. Little stone masonry. Yeah, I mean, I didn't agree with his theory. Okay, now these are the images that were basically attached to that conversation and made it appear that somebody went and took these images. Now it's the same type of trees, same type of foliage. If I had to guess, I would have to say maybe mid-March. Because mid-March is when you're going to start seeing the greenery start to sprout, and that's when you would start planting. Would be mid-March because of this very reason, the temperature changes. So this is definitely probably, I don't know if the same year or not, but I think I'm going to have to say March. And whoever took these photos or posted them online circled this poker here. I don't know why. And the only thing that leads me to believe that this wasn't built by children are the chains. What the hell are these chains doing here? It's the only thing that kind of throws me off is the chains. Do they need chains in a meth lab for anything? Does anybody know? Thank you, Ruckus says, I just texted Eric and asked him about this Facebook post and the photos. I'll let you know what he sends back to me. I appreciate that. We'll go right to the source. Yeah, I have a feeling this is. I pulled some of the crime scene photos, and the leaves are the same. The trees are the same. The fallen pieces of trees and branches that you see all around are the same. But if you notice here, there's just more greenery. I'm going to say mid-March or maybe even late March. But I'm going to go with mid-March. So everybody said bones hanging from the trees. That's a perfect description of what we're seeing here. Thick brush. Same type of trees there. Looks like we got a fireplace. A bucket. Maybe for fishing, shitting, sitting. Whatever. It's a bucket. You can do anything with a bucket. And then looks, what are these, water bottles? These 2 liters? Crazy. So my initial thought is some young teenagers made a fort. You know, looks like a little fire. And if you notice one thing, the fire is basically right next to, this is kind of like what you would do if you were in a survival situation. You would build a wall here, a fire, and then sleep right here underneath this wall where all the heat is bouncing off of you. So that's what that looks like to me. She says it looks ritualistic. Yeah, that's true. Ruckus says, Eric, I'm retired law enforcement. Sorry. Eric doesn't have any problem with me. Some of this stuff is BS. You have to remember that. 100%. We don't know where this information is coming from. We have somebody online attaching him to a conversation that is obviously with Eric Williams. And it's basically almost as he has described it. So it'd just be really easy for him to say, yep, those are the photos. I didn't take those, but, you know, that's it. That's what I seen. Or that's not what I seen, but very similar. I don't know. What is that, like a cow vertebrae? What is this? It's very strange looking. The only thing that makes me think it's not teens is the sophistication of this wall right here. Not sure. Here's another view. See, this is the full view of it. I don't know. It's just very strange with these chains all right here. And this piece of wood, to me, I would say that's, more to catch the heat from the fire, maybe. I don't know. Just really strange. Yeah, Frank, that is a good video. That's how I found Frank. I recommend anybody go and watching that. I did not pull it because basically the information was already contained in that conversation that I wanted to go over. And that's his description of what was seen. And that is another verification that from his mouth, he told Frank, like, yeah, it looked ritualistic. He saw these structures and animal bones and all this creepy kind of stuff. So to me, it kind of reminds me of what Robert Ives was saying. Like the crime scene was strange. But obviously, something like this would be local. You're not going to have some random guy be like, oh, I'm going to pull over here on the side of the freeway. I'm going to go build a wooden altar or a wooden fort out in the middle of nowhere. So it kind of fits Robert Ives' description as well. Okay, now here's the actual crime scene in Delphi. Right over this hill is Ron Logan's property. And here we can verify that the same trees, same foliage. There's a little bit of green coming up, but not much. See, we got more green popping up here. See, same kind of trees. So yeah, I'm going to say it's the same area. I don't know, Miss Kitty. I think I found him at the 2019 presser. Didn't really think about him since Richard Allen seems to be the guy on the bridge. Okay, so when he says 1,000, when Eric Williams said 1,000 yards from the bridge, what does he mean by that? Does he mean it's like down here somewhere? I assumed it was over here in this area. Maybe even like over here somewhere. Okay, now here are some examples that I found that people posted online. Weird things that they kind of, and these aren't in Indiana. I think this one was in like North Dakota or something. But these are just some strange things that people have walked up on in the woods. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Then you have an animal right underneath it. Looks like it's missing a head. A bird. Here's a metal band called Tavares. And I think it's Norse. These guys are Wiccan, though. I'm not sure what kind of Wiccans, but that's what I read. It's kind of similar, huh? Some black metal. Here's them when they first started. Just making some weird wooden. They called it some kind of altar, or they were honoring, somebody in the Wiccan religion. I can't remember. Okay, let me see if I can pull these ones up. Here's something else I found online, which is most likely the culprit. And we'll put the poll back up here in a minute. A new poll, actually. And I just found, this is random. These are some kids from Missouri. It's something I found on YouTube. So is it some kind of weird Wiccan Sons of Odin ritualistic sacrificial a Lupercalia death chamber? Or is it just something real simple like this?
We put it up between this Y, and so now we have two support sticks, and it's connected through to right there. So slowly working in progress. It's around 12 o'clock now. We're gonna be out here till 5. We have a really good fire going now. It was hard to
Hey, look, a fireplace. That looks familiar.
get it started, but now we have some really hot embers, and it's bar. We are inside.
Basically inside.
Yeah, this is pretty much inside, and there's a lot of holes and gaps, but we plan to fix those. I'll go out here. Those birds are making noises. Okay, so here's the outside. Oh, that was a voice crack. Okay. What we have so far.
All right. Yeah, Miss Kitty says Wicca is not Viking. I know that. But somebody building an altar out in the middle of nowhere out of trees, they may not know that. They may be a little confused. Because there's some of it that kind of crosses over. Apparently, I just learned that today with whatever that band's name was. Tevair, I think is how you pronounce it. But they claim to be Wiccan, but then they do a lot of like Sons of Odin type stuff, or people that are connected through that mythology. So I think that's my vote. Just somebody making a fort, in a cold climate. You're going to use your survival craft, bushcraft knowledge. Hey, if it gets cold, let's build a fire. But that doesn't mean somebody can't come along and take, add to what you've built and make it into something else. Yeah, it's basically, there you go, Holly. It's basically Vikings, pagans, Germanic. Yeah, there you go. Like something nature-based religion. Thank you. Okay, so if you guys want to chat about that for a moment, I think we're going to move on to the witnesses. But before we do that, you guys chat it up. I'm going to jump off camera and the mic just for about 2 minutes. I'm going to go to the restroom and be right back. All right. What did I miss? Hey, what is up, Bossy? So I think what we'll do next is we'll play a piece of what Murder Sheet put out called Muddy and Bloody. It's only going to be like maybe 10 seconds of their actual clip. I recommend I listened to the podcast in its entirety today. They shared it on the members Discord, so thank you for doing that. I think it was Miss Thang, or yeah, I think it was. So it was a good listen. So give me a moment to find that. I knew it, Ruckus. Moment I leave, you can talk some shit. Okay. So it looks like I pulled some information about the possible hitchhiker, the 2019 presser, because it's going to be in reference to the new sketch, the younger sketch, which they make reference to. July 17th, the press conference, where they released the older sketch for the first time. And he talks about the witness mentioning that it's a her, and not only that it's a her, but she was close enough to see the killer's eyes and said, for sure it's not blue. And we're going to talk about that too. Because we know Richard Allen's eyes are what color?
Said the witness who saw the suspect was close enough to him to say he did not have blue eyes, but was uncertain of his eye color.
So the witness was close enough to be able to tell that the man did not have blue eyes, but was not close enough to get a good look at the man's hat?
That's a good freaking point. So how are you going to tell me that this guy, oh, I know he doesn't have blue eyes, even though we know Richard Allen has what color eyes? Nobody's going to type it in there? You're going to make me show you. Okay. I'll pull it and then put it up on the screen. Sorry, my camera was frozen there. Oh, so you guys think his eyes are blue? Let's take a closer look. They look pretty freaking blue to me. Do you guys remember early on in the live streams where I said it is possible that this witness is saying that they're not blue and that it might be because we need to be looking for blue eyes? Do you think that's the case here? False, like a false witness? I don't think so. Those are blue. And why the hell would you say, oh, not, you definitely want to say not blue? Beach Fairy says they even tested out driving past each other. Yeah, they weren't driving. He would have been walking for sure. Yeah. Evil Eyes. Could be Hazel. Joni says could be Hazel. Could be. Hey, Natasha, my son's eyes changed from blue and gray with hazel in the middle. Would you ever say that for sure their eyes weren't blue? And his eyes in other pictures look blue. Here they seem like a, whatever that reflection is in there is what's giving it a little bit of that hazel, but I'm calling those blue. Right, Lauren? They're gonna gag you. I think you have to be somehow legally connected to the case, like where you might be called as a witness or present in the courtroom. Okay, let's go back to the Murder Sheet podcast. This
The
is
fact
titled
that this
Clean
witness
Bloody.
also seemed to be in a car also prompts some obvious questions about this sighting. That being said, the fact that guesswork is so integral to the creation of composite sketches does allow for a certain amount of inaccuracy and uncertainty. Sometimes.
And she does have a point. But we all know that. But she keeps, during this interview, they keep talking about this report and they quote Kim Riley. But really, all that report is doing is quoting the July 17th press conference. I don't think they realize that. So just a heads up on that. So they're getting third-party information about this specific presser. So you guys, if you've already seen this, oh, we got a super chat from Miss Doglover. I think his pupils dilate when he's on drugs or angry, making them look darker. Yeah, that could be. Gonna have to know him. Hey, what's up, Purdue? So this one is 11 minutes long. So if anybody's already seen it, needs to go to the restroom, a cigarette break. We're going to break this down pretty good. Hopefully I can load this file format. I don't know why it's different. I'm always messing with shit I shouldn't be messing with. Oh, here we go. It's going to run.
With 2 photos in it. We would like you to put both those photos in those when you talk about.
And the photos he's referring to are 2 clips from Libby's Bridge Guy video that she took. And you've probably seen those all over the media. They included those within that. But listen to his explanation here.
This case, we want the original photo that was put out earlier, and we also want the composite photo. So please, when you're putting out your information, we would like all that on there, please. Introduce a few people that are standing behind me before we get started here. You got Lieutenant Tom McKee from the Indiana State Police Post at Lafayette, Tony Liggett, sorry, from the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. I'll get this right here in a minute. Kevin Hammond from the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. Jerry
What
Holman
a
from the
strange
Indiana State Police
interaction.
Detectives out of the Lafayette State Police Post. And Tony Slocum, he's a public information officer out of the Peru Post. We're here to talk a little bit about the release that was put out. So I'm just basically going to open it up to questions. I will tell you now that most of the information that you have in the news release is about all that can be released at this time. So there's not going to be anything else real exciting, I guess would be the word, that's going to be put out there. But I'll be more than happy to take questions and we'll go from there.
How did artists develop this sketch? Was the sketch made with the help of eyewitness or eyewitnesses, or was it made solely from the other picture we've seen so often?
Basically, I can't really answer that question completely. I can tell you it came from the investigation itself, from officers looking into things, to tips and leads that come in, that people that have come forward, we've got information from there, and the composite was put together with that information.
Why release the sketch today? Did it just get finished? Have other people already seen this, including the family? Now it's just the right time to release?
Basically, I can't really answer that question put out there, but I'll be more than happy to take questions and we'll go from there.
Can you guys hear the questions?
Develop this sketch. Was the sketch made with the help of eyewitness or eyewitness?
The question is, was the sketch made with the help of an eyewitness? Are you guys able to hear that okay? Let me know real quick before I keep going, because I want to stop and go. The media asked some very specific questions. Oh, take care, Ruckus. Good to see you. All right. Thank you guys so much for that. Let's keep it going.
Witnesses, or was it made solely from the other picture we've seen so often?
Basically, I can't really answer that question completely. I can tell you it came from the investigation itself, from officers looking into things, to tips and leads that come in, that people that have come forward. We've got information from there, and the composite was put together with that information.
Why release the sketch today? Did it just get finished? Have other people already seen this, including the family, and now it's just the right time to release it?
This picture was released at this time because that's when we felt that it needed to come out. That the information needs to be put forward, and we wanted to get it out there so people can look at it. And it has, again, it has just taken a while to get this thing put together, and that's why it's taken so long to get the picture out.
In the realm of evidence and leads that you have, how big is this photograph? How much are you counting on this artist sketch or the photographic sketch?
I mean, it's like anything else in a case. Anytime we get something new or some information out there, we always feel it's important to the case. We feel this is very important because it actually gives a better view of the person in the picture that you see down below. It shows a little more facial features, gives you a little more information on what's we're looking at, who the suspect might be, and that's why we feel it is very important that this picture's out there at this time.
What's so striking about this? What is the thing that investigators look at and say, wow, that's the thing that's going to make this guy stand out from all the other men walking around?
It's basically just a clear picture of his face compared to what you
See, right here, Kim Riley's basically admitting what they've done. They've taken all of the information that they've had, they've taken maybe all the sketches that were put out, laid them together and kind of made a compromise, somewhere in the middle, something that matched what the witnesses were saying. But most importantly, he's saying that we leaned on what we're looking at in that image. And I'll tell you right now, from somebody who has obsessed over that image and tried to decipher what was going on behind those pixels, it's extremely hard. It's a blurry, there's so many variables going on with that image, from two perspectives and two movement sources. Yeah, so I mean, for them to lean more on the video, and when he says we worked on it, I think that's what he's talking about. They analyzed that image to death, and they included what they thought they were seeing, which is not off. I mean, it's pretty close, right? I mean, I think it's pretty close, but it's definitely completely different than the young guy sketch. So I'm thinking we're talking, these are two different people. The murder sheet also continued to say that they're the ones that are helping to perpetrate that story. Remember, I told you early on, there was somebody that said, hey, the older sketch, he's no longer a suspect. They mimicked that in their podcast today, which is 100% false. We know that Doug Carter said the killer would be somewhere in between. He never discarded it. But there were these small instances of people coming on social media, like really upset and frustrated with people because they were like, he's already come forward. He's spoken with law enforcement and things like that, which could have been Richard Allen. So people who are out there saying that might have been in his close circle, who were aware that, he came forward. And maybe people that were like, dang, Richard, like that kind of looks like you, buddy. And then the wife's like, oh, you idiot. He already talked to law enforcement. Something along those lines.
you saw down below. We've got the information out there, the pictures out there. Now we got this composite that we feel that is the same. We feel it is the same person, and we just want to make sure that people realize that that picture is this person. We're hoping, and that they can get that picture and take that picture and get us some information on a possible suspect.
How confident are you that that is accurate?
We're pretty confident. The information that was received, with that information, we've been able to put that together. Again, this thing wasn't drawn up overnight. We've been working with this picture and with the suspects that the witnesses that we have that would put this together. So it's not something that we did overnight. This has taken a while to put together.
Those witnesses, did they see them in the area, or did they call the tip line with that information?
I really can't go into that because we don't want to compromise the case itself.
But when you say witnesses, so multiple people were able to help you out with this?
There was people that were able to help us out with this, yes.
Muddy and
A lot of
bloody.
people say you guys are releasing this now because you've run out of leads. That's not true at this.
See, and this is the thing. We know that they didn't have the Hoosier Harvest Store video around this time, right? We know that because of the Ron Logan affidavit. Ron Logan affidavit, the FBI says that the girls arrived at 1 o'clock. But in the Richard Allen probable cause affidavit, it's closer to 1:49. And they say the reason they're able to verify that is with the Hoosier Harvest Store video. So I'm under the assumption that the Muddy Bloody lady is the person who helped provide this sketch here. And maybe they didn't listen to her as much. Maybe they went more with what they're seeing in the video or other witnesses. But we know that she's the source of that. And I believe that the Hoosier Harvest Store video feed, for whatever reason, if it was why it was delayed, I don't know. That's a story for somebody there to track down. But why that was delayed, I think could very well be the source of the whole new direction and why they, maybe they were able to see something on that footage that witnesses, didn't report.
No, we're still getting anywhere from 5 to 10 tips a day. We're still getting emails, so it's not something that is just, this case is not dried up. It's not a cold case. This case is still very active.
If you didn't have those tips, we may never have seen this picture in the first place, right?
The possibility, yes.
What's the attitude of the troops working on this? I mean, the fact that there's a composite that's infinitely clearer than the picture we've been looking at. I mean, what's the move? What is the feeling among investigators who've been grinding away at this for 5 months now?
Well, anytime you get new information, officers are always excited about that information. It kind of builds up their confidence on the case itself. With this information here, we're really, it really excites them, lets them know that, people are still caring about this case, that people are still interested. And when we can get somebody to come forward with more information, if we can get a name or at least a location of this subject, that would be great. But officers have never really gotten down on this case. I think they've frustrated maybe, but as far as solving this thing, it's something that's we've always felt like we were going to solve this case.
Who made the sketch? ISP? Did you guys bring somebody specific in here to talk to those witnesses to come up with the exact look of this person?
It's basically just been a combination of all the departments have come together and we put this composite together.
Now in the release you talk about...
What a strange answer. What does that mean?
Well, if you see the original... It's basically just been a combination of all the departments have come together and we put this composite together.
Now in the release you talk about
Weird.
not to focus on the hat. It might not be accurate. Can you talk a little bit about that so people at home know why?
Well, if you see the original picture down below, it appears that he's got a hat on that's got the flaps down over the, kind of down over the face. We want to make sure that you focus on the picture.
Okay. Hey, Michelle says, I'm pretty sure Murder Sheet said that the Muddy Bloody lady was the main source for the older guy sketch in that episode. Yeah, which is very strange because they're also saying that he's no longer a person of interest, and they never said that. But that part she is, I believe she's right on.
We want to make sure the face is
Anya, that is, from the Murder Sheet
not to worry about
podcast.
the hat. Even though that hat is not quite the same as the one in the picture, we want the facial features is what we want you to look at.
If someone did recognize this person, what should they?
So to me, what this is and what we're looking at here is their answer to people saying that the photos that were released, I think on the 16th, which were 2 clips from Libby's video. I think people just were complaining like, man, it's too blurry, or maybe tipping in the wrong people, or the whole pareidolia thing. So I think this was their answer. They said, hey, collectively, we're being overwhelmed with these tips, and when we run them down, we're finding out, it's not leading anywhere. So maybe we need to figure out a way to clear up that photo.
They can call they can call the tip line, or they can email us.
In the release, you mentioned some of exactly like his hair color and things like that. Can you talk about that information you put in the release right now?
Basically, the hair color is a reddish brown. She was, or the person was not clear on the color of the eyes, but the person said it was definitely not blue. She was the person was very obvious that it was not blue eyes, but they did mention that they were not clear on which color it was. That hat is not quite the same as the one in the picture. We want the facial features is what we want you to look at.
If someone did recognize this person, what should they do?
They can call they can call the tip line, or they can email us.
In the release, you mentioned some of exactly like his hair color and things like that. Can you talk about that information that you put in the release right now?
Basically, the hair color is a reddish brown. She was, or the person was not clear on the color
Reddish brown.
Of the eyes, but the person
about
said
right,
it was
reddish
definitely
brown.
not blue. She was the person was very obvious that it was not blue eyes, but they
Why would you say that?
did mention that they were not clear on which color it was.
That's like something a dummy would say that knew the killer.
Sure that they saw
Not saying
this
that
guy
this person's a
walking around
dummy.
that
I'm
day
just
and
saying,
they helped you out.
like, oh,
Is that fair to say?
it definitely wasn't me.
Pretty much,
I don't know who did
what
it, but it
is,
wasn't
yes.
me. You know, something like that.
Those
Some
people come forward
Scooby-Doo
right away, or
kind of
does it
stuff.
take a little bit of time for those people to come forward?
It's been a while. It took a little bit. People are scared, they're afraid to be recognized by the subject. So
And I think they've also mentioned that on the Murder Sheet podcast. So I'm wondering if that's something that the witnesses said, or maybe some kind of strange story that they came forward with. Like, yeah, I know something. I wish I could tell you, but I'm just too afraid for whatever reason.
they were not clear on which color
Or
it
they're
was.
just assuming.
So there are people out there who are sure that they saw this guy walking around that day and they helped you out. Is that fair to say? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much that's what it is. Yes.
He's like walking? No.
Those people come forward right away, or did it take a little bit of time for those people to come forward?
It's been a while. It took
Good
a little
question.
bit. People are scared, they're afraid to be recognized by the subject. So
Did you hear that? Let's listen to that again.
Those people come forward right away, or did it take a little bit of time for those people to come forward?
It's been a while. It took a little bit. People are scared, they're afraid to.
His answer is yes. And when he finally spoke to them, they said they were scared to come forward. So to me, what are they afraid of? If they can't point out the guy, there's no reason to be afraid unless they knew the guy's name, right? And why didn't they come forward right away? Something's up with this, right? Is anybody picking up on this? Kim Riley is telling us that a witness didn't come forward right away. It was at the Muddy and Bloody Lady. And why didn't she come forward? She was afraid. What is she afraid of? If she knows that the person doesn't know her, there should be no reason to be afraid.
To be recognized by the subject. So it just takes a while for these things to happen. Like I said, the picture didn't come overnight. We've been working on this for a while.
Do you think this guy's still around the Delphi area? Do you think he's in a different state?
That's what I hope.
Think
this
he's
is
at
all about.
CVS? Oh,
We've heard many times that some
see, I
Do you think
missed
this
that
guy's
part.
still
It just takes a while for these things to happen. Like I said, the picture didn't come overnight. We've been working on this for a while.
Do you think this guy's still around the Delphi area? Do you think he's in a different state?
That's what I hope this is all about.
What does he mean? I hope that's what this is all about. That he's still in Delphi or that he's from another state? Part's so confusing.
It's been a while. It took a little bit. People are scared, they're afraid to be recognized by the subject. So it just takes a while
Why
for these
would you
things
be
to happen.
afraid of
Like I
the
said,
old
picture
CVS
didn't come
guy?
overnight. We've been working on this for a while.
Do you think this guy's still around the Delphi area? Do you think he's in a different state?
That's what I hope this is all about.
What the hell does he mean by that? I hope that's what this is all about. And he gives this cheesy smile like, yep, we got something. Wasn't there some confusion about that they were looking for somebody somewhere, like in Texas or I can't remember. But it was just like a miscommunication between somebody in their media department putting out interpreting the information incorrectly. I don't know, Rick. Nobody noticed Rick. Everybody noticed Ron. Ron was not hiding in plain sight, and he had a criminal record. This Richard Allen guy doesn't even have a criminal record. Doesn't mean he hasn't committed a crime. Like, you can't think that you know who that person is. Here, let's pull him back up on the screen. Look at those eyes. Have you ever seen the movie Usual Suspects? Where, like, the main guy appears to be the most pathetic, and he kind of sneaks off at the end into the sunset, fooling everybody. Like, you just can't assume that this guy, he doesn't have a social media presence. Why? Maybe he doesn't, anybody's seeing some crazy shit that he does. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the hat. If he is the bridge guy, I'm pretty sure that's the hat he was wearing on the bridge, and wearing his sunglasses just like that. Yeah, I think it is the same hat. Honestly. I mean, with that image, like I said, you can never be sure. But I mean, I've seen the shape of this. What was really strange, let me zoom into it really quick. I used to think there was some kind of a cobra emblem. And when you look at this with the eyes the way it is, it kind of looks like a snakehead, huh? You see this right here? See the eyes? And the other eye here, and then the snake's mouth, and the snake's nose. See that? But really, it says Historic 66, Arizona. Yeah, right here. I. So yeah, I think it's the same hat because that looks like the snakehead I thought I was seeing. I was like, damn. It's like I'm 100%, almost 99.9% sure this is a snake's head. Now I know why I thought that. Because that shit looks like a snake's head. And then look right here too is a snake's head. About to get squashed.
We've heard many times that somebody out there probably knows something and is really driving home the point today to make sure you call, no matter how little it may be, even especially if you recognize this person.
That's what we want. We want people to call in, give us information. Anybody that can give us an identification on this subject or knows where the subject might be, that would be great. We would appreciate any information we can get.
So still have that voice, now you have an even closer picture, and you have this other. So 3 really pieces of solid evidence that you have that people can work with. So that's got to be big development today for the community and for the
That is
family.
correct. We're really excited about the information that's being put out there. The detectives and all the investigators who are involved are just basically waiting for the phone rings.
Will any more information or video be released from his cell phone that Libby had that day?
I'm not going to comment on that. I don't want to compromise that case.
Just to be clear, do you know this man's identity and you're not releasing it, or you don't know this guy's identity?
We want to know who he is.
Okay.
Do you think someone in Carroll County, and I know you said that's the point up to.
He's like, we know who he is, but we want you to come and say it. We need you to point at him. That might be a good poll question, huh? Let me throw that up there. So we'll end this poll here. Sorry, Lauren, I just timed you out. You'll be back in a few minutes. You're just kind of sounding a little trollish. But the poll was Ives. crime in quotations, crime scene was strange, odd, and unusual. And then I had the thumbnail of those crazy trees with the bones and all that stuff that Eric Williams was talking about. And I asked, is this what he was referring to? This kind of strange. 37% said yes. 27% said kind of like, I don't know, but those are strange images. 18% said images are unrelated. And 15% said no. So, I mean, if you look at the poll, the two that had, if you kind of merge the middle two, most deaf, odd and strange, and images are unrelated together, I mean, it seems like everybody was on the right track. But you never know. It's all about the possibility. All right. Oops, I don't want to add an option. There we go. All right, if you guys could participate in that poll, and then we'll check it out here in about 5 minutes or so.
But do you think somebody around this area knows who he is and will possibly call in?
We're hoping somebody knows from wherever. We don't care where it's from. We just want to be able to find somebody that can identify this subject and give us the information on him.
Any search warrants that are going to come now that you've released this person's picture? Anything else developing after you put his picture out there today?
Well, we got to just do the investigation at that point in time, see what happens. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so that's pretty much the reference for everything, for half of what the murder sheet, which is kind of the topic of this section of the live stream. But now we're going to go into the other half, which is the new direction presser. We're not going to watch everything. We're all pretty much, actually, let's watch this first, and then we'll look at an article before we do that. And then we can kind of lay the tracks for the other stuff. Okay, here it is. So this is when they were looking for a hitchhiker. So I had some questions about this in regards to whether or not they had the Hoosier Harvest Store footage at this time, and this is way before the new direction presser. So that's the question for this video.
Were last seen alive. Today, we found a bundle of flowers near the Monon High Bridge to mark the spot. Now, this afternoon, as many as 35 investigators are looking into tips and leads that are coming in. State police say that no tip is too small in solving this case. Now, authorities tell me more than 100 tips have come in since they named this man their suspect in the double homicide yesterday. Now, this picture taken along the trail where Abby Williams and Libby German were last seen 1 week ago on the trail system east of Delphi. While they won't discuss the evidence, state police believe this is their suspect, although they still have not identified him. Police are not sure if the man remains here in Delphi, but today they tell us they are looking at several theories as to who and where he is.
We're checking all of our leads. We're asking people that, that were driving down the Hoosier Heartland that might have saw a hitchhiker or somebody walking. We're asking people that would live in Logan.
Okay, so early on, you had Fig Solves. I covered it multiple times. Sorry, I keep hearing something. But you remember we knew that there was something going on with this hitchhiker angle. So what it had to do with is the muddy and bloody guy and the witness who saw him. It happened to be the same person who, well, we think saw the blue eyes. We've been talking about this person for a long time. We just had it confused. We always thought that maybe the dog lady or the lady who let her dogs out that lived over there on the south end was the blue-eyed, the blue eyes witness, but it wasn't. It was this muddy and bloody witness on 300. So if they see this guy walking muddy and bloody, maybe they thought he was just a vagrant, maybe, and he was planning on making his way out of town.
Support all the way to Lafayette. If they saw somebody around that late afternoon, that evening of Monday the 13th, if they saw somebody walking down the roadway that just did not look like they should have been there, or they're just a hitchhiker, we would like to know about that person.
Now, the tip line is right there at the bottom of the screen. Now, today I spoke to a woman who is good friends with Libby German's family. I asked her how she's feeling after police named that man in the picture a suspect in this investigation. You're going to hear from her coming up tonight at 5 and 6. For now, we're live in Delphi.
I wonder if she felt threatened. I have a feeling there's a big part of this story we don't know. And we may never know. Honestly. Try to catch up on the chat real quick. All right. And this is the Indy Star article where they mention speaking directly to Trooper Bryant and told them directly that he was the one responsible. And this is way before it was ever put on the media or anything. This is early on in the case. But there's a few news reports about it now. Let me pop this up here on the screen for you. All right. This is a long article. It's a great article. So, of course, it is the topic of the day, April 22nd, 2019. So obviously I just misspoke. Good thing I checked that. The sketch released on Monday was drawn by Bryant on February 17th, 2017, a few days after the victims' bodies were found. The picture was based on the description of a person who saw something the person felt needed to be reported, according to Bryant. Well, yeah, a muddy and bloody guy leaving a crime scene. What do you mean you felt it needed to be reported? And why did you wait? One thing we learned from that presser is that she waited. That presser, I believe, was in July. Yep, July 2017. So she probably waited a few months. No, Lauren, I didn't call you a troll. I just said it was kind of coming off troll-ish. But you're back now, and we're all good. Linkridge Shelties, hello. I think it's the Scene of the Crime podcast where they interview Ives about the crime scene. He answered with the tone of disgust. I think we could all be way off here, and I'll try to find the episode. Yeah, I think we're all pretty versed on, Robert Ives' account, especially after, I think it was the 2019 presser. I think he became frustrated and he kind of started letting a little thing slip. And I think that was the first time he mentioned the souvenirs even. I could be wrong. Something that needed to be reported. Isn't that very close verbiage used by exterminator witness Brad Hughes, or am I or not Brad Hughes? Brad Heath. Yes, that's 100%. And you beat me to the punch. But yeah, he told media I saw something. I felt I needed to say something about it. So we all assumed he was responsible for the sketch by that verbiage. But because of him speaking with Gray Hughes, and that's why I said Brad Hughes, got it wrong. But that's why I was thinking about that name, was because after he spoke with him, we know that he didn't mention seeing anybody. He mentioned a vehicle. See, we're verifying all of this information and breaking it down. It's the Delphi Hadron Collider. That's the new name of the channel. Good point, Digital. Julie talked to Weber's neighbor about the lady with the dog. Sleuth talked to Julie about it on one of his lives. Yeah. So she didn't talk to the neighbor. She talked to somebody who knew the neighbor extremely well, and she felt very confident with the information. But she stated that right around 1:30, which is conveniently what we know now to be precisely around the time Richard Allen showed up. We know that he was walking from the Freedom Bridge at 1:30, and in between 1:30 and like 1:48-ish, he runs into those three teens. So we know he was over there. He wasn't on the south side of the bridge yet. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't somebody in a vehicle waiting down below, or somebody else waiting to ambush, having a confrontation with Kay Weber's neighbor, who I believe we also heard her husband eventually had to come out there and said, "Hey, look, pal, you better get out of here. I'm going to kick your ass," and started walking towards the person, and he kind of scurried away. Where did he scurry to? Probably down the hill. So yeah, that is a very interesting part of the story. All right, let's go ahead and watch part of the 2019 presser, and then we're probably going to get out of here. Well, there's a sub email. No, hold on. I had a subscriber send me a great email today. We're going to talk about it. Another email I received, we just pretty much covered that. So shout out to you. If you want to put your name in the chat, feel free. But thanks for two great emails. Not that all of them aren't good. I'm just saying some of them are perfect timing. You know, I'll be researching something, and an email will come through, and it just has everything to do with what I'm looking at, and just fits right in with what's going on.
Wasn't sure quite what to expect when I walked out, but I got to say to the Delphi community, how grateful I am. You inspire people that you don't even understand, and you don't even understand why. Information is being released today is the result of literally thousands and thousands of hours of extraordinary investigative efforts.
Yep. Looks like we're having technical difficulties. I'm going to put it up on, I'll just share my screen. This is an older video. I probably had a different file format on it. StreamYard's finicky like that. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Starting now.
Wasn't sure quite what to expect when I walked out, but I got to say to the Delphi community, how grateful I am. You inspire people that you don't even understand, and you don't even understand why. Information is being released today is the result of literally thousands and thousands of hours of extraordinary investigative efforts.
Or was it the Hoosier Harvest Store video? What do you guys think?
By the county, the FBI, the Indiana State Police, and countless other agencies. This community surrounded us some 26 months ago. And you did everything you could to support us, but most importantly, you surrounded the family of these two little girls.
Thank you, Digital.
Gosh, I'll never forget.
Thank you, Apple. Beach Fairy. Thank you.
After you hear what we're going to release today, I'm going to ask for your continued
Olivia,
support,
thank you so much.
your continued understanding, your empathy and compassion as we move forward to find out who did this, and we will. We're seeking the public's help to identify the driver of a vehicle that was parked at the old CPS DCS welfare building in the city of Delphi that was abandoned on the east side of County Road 300 North next to the Hoosier Heartland Highway between the hours of noon to 5 on February.
Okay. So I think that has to do with our poll. Let me take a look. Okay, so my question here, and we're going to end this poll. Does he know it was Richard Allen and he just needs somebody to come forward so that they can arrest him? I mean, honestly. Because everybody brings up Brian Koberger and the investigation there in Idaho, which, you know, they did an amazing job. But they had DNA linking them to a single person. You know, it looks like they have multiple people who are involved here. Okay, so the results are no. 72% say no. That's interesting. Wow, I think I just had too many windows open. Hold on, give me a moment. Let's try that again.
February 14th, 2017. If you were parked there or know who was parked there, please contact the officers at the command post at the Delphi City Building. We are releasing additional portions of the audio recording from that day.
Okay. Why didn't they release it earlier? That's what always made me think that maybe somebody else was captured on that video. You had Burston who says he made that comment. He's like, you guys in the video world, you don't see what's over here, you don't see what's over there. So I'm wondering if they kind of got a glimpse of somebody else, real brief, and they weren't sure if the voice yet was the same person.
Please keep in mind, the person talking is one person.
You guys can hear that, right?
Is the person on the bridge with the girls. Person
Okay.
talking is
See,
one.
why else would he make this clarification?
We are releasing additional portions of the audio recording from that day. Please keep in mind,
Listen.
the person talking is one person and is the person on the bridge with the girls.
It's almost like that's what he heard, like in a briefing or something, like he's like, okay, this is something important that I can tell them. But it's almost like he's almost answering a question that they had for themselves. And now that they know, we're going to show it to you guys.
This is not two different people speaking. Please listen to it very, very carefully. We are also releasing video recovered from Libby's phone. This video has never before been previously released. The video shows a suspect walking on the bridge. When you see the video, watch the person's mannerisms as they walk. Watch the mannerisms as he walks. Do you recognize the mannerisms as being someone that you might know? Remember, he is walking on the...
Man, there's just something about his tone of voice right here where I feel like he's talking directly to Richard Allen's family or friends.
Might know. Remember, he is... Watch the person's mannerisms as they walk. Watch the mannerisms as he walks. Do you recognize the mannerisms?
Like we
as being
know
someone that you might
recognize. We know.
Remember, he is walking on the former railroad bridge. Because of the deteriorated condition of the bridge, the suspect is not walking naturally due to the spacing between the ties. During the course of this investigation, we have concluded the first sketch released will become secondary as of today. The result of the new information and intelligence
Secondary.
over time
Not a guy that's cleared.
leads us to believe the sketch, which you will see shortly.
But Jerry Holman did say at CrimeCon that a lot of the sketches, and they had several, a lot of them, some of them included some of the searchers like Mike and other people, lots of people that were searching out there. So what's crazy is some of those, they assumed that some of those sketches were those searchers, but what if the killer was searching?
Is the person responsible for the murders of these two little girls? We also believe this person is from Delphi, currently or has previously lived here, visits Delphi on a regular basis, or works here. We believe this
or
person
works
is
here.
currently between the age range of 18 and 40.
Listen to this.
We also believe this person is from Delphi,
Listen how he says this.
currently or has previously lived here, visits Delphi on a regular basis,
And the right answer,
or works here.
or works here.
We believe this person is currently between the age little girls. Time
Please tell me I'm not tripping.
for the murders of these two little girls. We also believe this person is from Delphi,
Yep.
currently or has previously lived here, visits Delphi on a regular basis, or works here.
Or works
We
here.
believe this person is currently between the age range of 18 and 40, but might appear younger than his true age. Directly
Durka Durka.
to the killer, who may be in this room.
Hey, what's up,
We
Unsolved?
believe you are
Yeah.
hiding in plain sight.
Oh man. We believe you are hiding in plain sight. This has nothing to do with the killer. This press conference has everything to do with the Hoosier Harvest Store video and them getting verification, but not enough to move forward. And just because Ives, who came out publicly and said, oh, there was never a person that we had our eye on early on, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. This case is very important to him, and him saying that could also be blocking a certain direction of thought.
For more than 2 years, you never thought we would shift gears to a different investigative
Hey,
strategy.
what's up, Fig?
But we have.
Hey, I was talking about you earlier.
We likely have interviewed you. Or
The
someone
sketches.
close to you.
This is just one of many sketches of the day,
We know that this is about power to you.
or topics are.
And you
Rather.
want to know what we know. And one day, you will.
No, Holly, I don't.
A question to you. What will those closest to you think of when they find out that you brutally murdered two little girls?
Gosh. It's like just picture Richard Allen and Doug Carter sitting in the same room.
Two children. Only a coward would do such a thing. We are confident that you have told someone what you have done. Or at the very least, they know because of how different you are.
At the very least. So you're lucky if that's what you get away with. That's what he's saying. He says, you'll be lucky because if you know anything, at the very least, we're going to get you on that.
Since the murders.
Hey, what's up, Microwave? Good to see you.
We try so hard to understand how a person could do something like this to two children. I recently watched a movie called The Shack. And there's also a book that talks so well about evil, about death, and about eternity.
Yeah, I wonder what that Shaq comment was about. I wonder if it was sorry, I gotta grab a little bit of ganja here. I wondered, what if maybe they knew that recently he had gone to the movies or made a purchase, I wonder if maybe Richard Allen knew. Maybe he knew that they were watching him, but he knew that he had gotten rid of the evidence or whatever, or that they didn't have anything on him.
To the murderer. I believe
Good to
you
see
have
you
just
guys.
a little bit of a conscience left.
Shout out to True Crime with Microwave and Baby Doll.
And I can assure you that how you left them in that woods is not, it's not what they're experiencing today.
Which we know was strange, odd, and unusual.
To the family,
What's up, Linda?
I hope that you all will give them some time, because we're going to be asking that there's no media inquiry or no media response for at least the next 2 weeks, and I hope you understand why. The family found out about this information this morning. I just want the family to know that when I take my last breath on this earth, I'll be thinking of them. There's going to be a tremendous amount of questions. I know that. I know that. Never in my career have I stood in front of something like this. Please be patient with us, please. We're just beginning. We are just now beginning. And I can tell you on behalf of the sheriff and the police chief, so many other partners that have stood with us over this period of time, that we will not stop.
That's a good question, Ken. I mean, that could account for the lost time. He could have panicked. I don't know. It's such a weird thing. An unspent shell, an unspent bullet just sitting there. I mean, that could even be one of the signatures, you think? Ruckus says he's going to have Eric Williams on tomorrow.
Unveiled the person that we believe responsible
Send him some questions
for the
for
murder
him.
of these two little girls. So I invite media to take a look at that now.
Yeah, who the F is this guy? Fig says, I think the shack reference was the preface for him saying how you left them in the woods is not how they are today. They depict heaven in that movie, and it was pretty cool. Well, the question isn't how does it relate? You know, we obviously know the relation, but why? There's a million things that relate, you know, under those circumstances. Why the shack? No, kind of like the same question. Why Delphi? Why Carroll County? The answers are because the dude lives right there, or they all live right there. Yeah, what the hell's up with that curly hair? So apparently there's a rumor that the person, the muddy and bloody witness, I think apparently she might be in some trouble right now. I'm not sure. That might not be accurate. But if it's the person that they're identifying it as, she has a relative that matches this description. It's very strange. It's got to be another person. They're like, okay, we got Richard Allen. We got him. Now we need a witness to come forward along with telling us who this person is. Purdue says, agree, Fig. Richard Allen is proven guilty. If proven guilty, did things to them with objects. He had lots of time. Yeah, very strange, odd, and unusual crime scene. Fig says, yes, Purdue. Let's see. Digital empty bridge photo is big clue and threat to killers, in my opinion. Fig is in agreement. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. It's slowing me down. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I got. We'll hang out for a few moments. Yeah, didn't Ives mention non-secular? So you have Ives saying non-secular. You have Doug Carter mentioning The Shack, which is kind of a religious type movie, and then he also says there's a book referring to the Bible, of course. Oh, thanks, Fig. Yeah, and I'm reading that email you sent me too. It's pretty interesting, man. I like it. I like what I see. Yep, that's all we try to accomplish. Thank you, Sophie. Remember, this is all we want is for you to
Please open your mind.
just open your mind just a little bit.
Open your mind. Open your mind.
Oh, one of the best movies ever. Thank you. Thank you, Purdue. The Unsolved. What do you think about Alan getting so drunk in 2015 he was taken by his wife to the hospital at 3 a.m.? Way more going on behind closed doors. That's the first time I've heard that. I've heard some stories similar to that, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen it with my own eyes. Thanks, Olivia. Yeah, I put a lot of time into this one. And I can only really do this when when I'm trying to figure something out. And I know the more that we look at all this information, the more we process it. Just like Paul Hole says. And it's people like that who inspire me, because if you listen to the things he says, he's like, it's kind of like an art. He's just downloading information and he's learning rules and techniques about interpretation and trying to have a picture form in front of him. And I think if we, not that that's going to happen for us, the untrained person, but I think if we can download enough of this information and process it, maybe we'll start to actually see this, picture start to form. Yeah, or just smoke a bunch of weed. Because I stay high. To be honest. Pretty much a Rastafarian. You never seen that movie? It's a classic. Yeah, he did say he recognized that voice, but I think he was just trying to. What he meant by that was like, hey, somebody out there that actually does recognize it, take a second, to think about it. Like, okay, maybe I do recognize it. Like, I do recognize that voice. I think that's what he meant. Thank you, Michelle. It's good to see you. We're just going to catch up on the chat, and then we'll kind of just play some outro type music. Your team, Doug Carter? I don't know how I feel about Doug Carter. I know he plays a great guy on TV. He does, he does a good job at that. Hey, what is that? Vicus? Strange name. Vic. I'll call you Vic. Was Richard Allen a hitman? I wonder. Was he desperate for money? Like, I'll do it. Growing crazy. Hey, growing crazy. Did you see the part where I was showing all that? Here, let me pull up an image real quick. You're a gardener. Give me your opinion. I said mid-March. And I pretty much believe that this is in Delphi. Okay. So I was trying to base it off of that green, a little bit of greenery right there. What say you? I'm saying mid-March, and I'm sticking to it. And that's only because I'm getting ready to plant my tomatoes, and I was looking up everything. Yeah, but we did play a video of these perfectly normal kids. If you watched, I watched the whole video. It was like 10 minutes, and they were just reminded of me when I was 12. So either it's something really creepy, or it's just a fort some people built, or maybe both. Maybe they built a fort and then some really creepy people came and were like, hey, let's go ahead and use this place to chain people up. That's the only thing I don't get are the chains. Like, what are you going to do with them fucking chains? That's one thing the kids didn't have. They had a little fireplace. They had the bushcraft survival wall, for cold temperature survival next to a fire. But it was also some other weird shit, like these bones hanging and chains. Very creepy. Wherever it is. And the guy who supposedly is going to be, who saw this was part of the search team. He's going to be over there with Ruckus tomorrow morning. He agreed to hang out with Ruckus. And if you guys have any questions, go over to his channel and say, hey, Sleuth sent me, here's a question for your guest tomorrow. And then make sure you guys tune in. Here is a clip that I was going to throw in here, but it just didn't really make any sense, but I'll play it anyway because we're about to get out of here.
Like this one. I'd always suspected as much. You are an eye attacker. I'm not psychic, Doctor.
No. This is different. More akin to artistic imagination. You're able to assume the emotional point of view of other people, even those that might scare or sicken you. Troubling gift, I should think. How I'd love to get you on my couch.
Another good flick. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to bounce out of here. I think this song is like 3 minutes. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Oh, you're right. I didn't look at the trees. Oh shit, it's probably April, huh? You got me. Thanks, D. Yeah, that's an interesting thought, Purdue. Yeah, I guess you could kind of put somebody in the middle, but do you think if you chain somebody up right there, that they wouldn't just like yank that whole thing down? Later, Natasha. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for helping out. Later, Apple. Thanks for participating today. Deb, thank you so much. It's always good to have you. So what do you think that is? You call it. I can't call it. Hey, what's up, Ophelia? How you been? Good to see you. Hey, Ophelia, too late. I already, I got all my stuff. I was going to use it tonight, but I didn't want to mess something up and then not be able to do my live stream. Hey, Julianne, what is up? Thank you, Tina. The Unsolved says, take the Eagles over the Chiefs. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up on the way out. And if you are part of the replay crew, shout out to you. Please leave a comment. We'll catch you on the next one. You guys, I'm out of here.